years old, and you've got yourself a signed Tom Ross book. How about that? I'll get the details of your address and one thing or another. Either pass them on or get it sent to wherever, but we'll get it sorted. I promise you that, right? Okay, but it might not be there for your birthday, but just hang on, it will come. It will come. Okay, so the season's finished, and we finished yet again 1 point off the drop zone, one place off the drop zone yet again. Now, not one of us was satisfied, not one of us was happy, and not one of us is prepared to accept that poor level of football. We're not, right? However, I'm prepared now, and I'm sure everybody else is, to draw a line under last season and to draw a line under the last 10 years, right? 10 years, okay? And we start again, and we go again, right? But I tell you what, this season has got to be different. Tom, what do you reckon?
I think there's no danger that it has to change. Normally, at least we have the drama of last day by getting a result that saves us. This time, we have to rely on Charlton losing.
Relying on Charlton Athletic losing is an embarrassment. Yeah, sorry, but it really is.
I think that the big mistake for me is that I think when lockdown started, I think maybe some people at the club thought they were home and dried. That's why players were let go. Players like Magoma, they were all let go. That would have given us a little bit of options on the bench that I think were sadly lacking when we were not getting results. So I think it caught everybody out a little bit. You know, everybody thought we were okay, and I did. If I'm truthful with you, when lockdown came, I thought we'd be okay. I didn't think.
But lockdown also happened for everybody else as well, Tom.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. But you know, not everybody let the experienced players go. Not everybody had a situation where the manager would turn around, look at his bench, and see a load of kids there.
No, this manager has to be allowed to manage. He has to be allowed to do the job. He is capable of doing the job, and he has to have the reins and the funds and the finances and everything else to be able to do his job correctly. And I do believe that we'll be a different side next year. Paul,
well, I don't know whether I still don't believe the club are going to spend fortunes. I really
not
don't.
A fortune, Tom. No, but
because firstly. They've had no revenue coming in. And I'm sure there'll be a situation where they'll owe some of the sponsors money.
Yeah.
For, you know, maybe not. I don't know, because the games have been on TV, so maybe not. But they've not had any revenue. They've already had problems with the EFL and FFP. I don't think there'll be big bucks to spend. I think, as I see it, I think they'll go young. And he does have a reputation for young players, correct? Mm-hmm. It's whether we've got enough of them.
Well, there is that. I know young Joe is Job still with us, Tom? Do you know?
Yes, he is, I believe.
Okay, right. Okay, I was a little bit unsure. Did
you not find? Listen, I'm a massive fan of Jude Bellingham.
Yeah,
great talent, right? But
lovely lad as well.
It's embarrassing that instead of using him like Trevor, in, out, put him on the bench, all that stuff. Yeah. We send him out to save the day for us, a 16-year-old kid.
Yeah.
For goodness sake, is that what we're about?
It must be absolutely astounding.
And the thing is, he probably did.
Well, he did.
So what are your thoughts on retiring?
I think Hogan 7 in 14 did a lot.
Yes, he did. Yeah, to be honest. Yeah.
Just want to ask Tom, what's your thoughts on retiring Jude's shirt?
Nonsense. Absolutely. I'm embarrassed.
Nonsense. Yeah. The word, Tom. God, I don't think
ridiculous.
I've sworn on this show in 10 years, and I'm almost about to. What a ridiculous situation.
It's not the kids' fault.
No, of course
not. 100%
not. 100% not.
But that may be we've retired the shirt because he got them 20-odd million.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
It might be because it might save the day financially, but we haven't retired Trevor Francis's shirt or Dugat. We haven't. It's a nonsense. It's an absolute nonsense and embarrassing for my club, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Right,
yeah,
Mark.
I agree with that, yeah.
Mark, was you embarrassed?
I was embarrassed. Yeah, I mean, like
Chris.
I say, I mean, I live over here in Coventry, and they've been ribbing me non-stop. You know, it is an embarrassment.
Chris, was you embarrassed?
Oh, very, I'm afraid. Yeah.
Paul, was you embarrassed?
Yeah, it was, to be honest.
And
Yeah.
I was embarrassed, and Tom was embarrassed. So that's 100% of us that are embarrassed, right?
Yeah.
Retiring a shirt. No. Let's see the number 22, and let's see the next starlet coming through it. Why ever not?
Yeah.
Give it to a kid and say, listen, the last person to wear this,
You've got
they're playing at Dortmund.
Yeah, that's a great.
Hang on.
Great.
Oh,
That's right.
Tom.
Yeah.
Oh, crikey, yes.
However,
yes.
I did go past the stadium the other day and I saw the mural on the wall, and that's quite impressive, I must say, in the flesh.
Which is
He looks fantastic. Yeah. Apart from
I'd
a
like
bit
to see that.
with Trevor, I think that looks a bit silly. Looks like his
I
nan.
haven't seen it. I've seen pictures on Facebook, but you know, the kid was a superb player who will get better.
Yeah, he was.
And I think he can be anything in the game he wants. However, he played a handful of games in the championship.
Yeah. And again, we're not
And
knocking
to be
the kid.
fair, he's done the club a great service, you know, the money that's come in, because without it,
Of
we would
course.
have been struggling.
And,
Yeah, we
and
would
Tom,
have.
we have to reiterate that we're not knocking the kid, right?
No, he's
We're
one of the
not.
most exciting youngsters I've seen at Blues for a long time.
And I can't see what Borussia Dortmund can do with him.
I wish we'd have kept him.
Yeah,
I
but
wish
we
we were in
can't.
a
We can't be
position
in
to
that
pick him.
situation, are we?
No, that's the point. So how do we get in that situation where we're the ones picking out youngsters from places instead of them picking us? You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Well, unless we get some rich Arab owners, then I'm afraid we're a billion miles away from it, and that's it.
Mm. It's a great story. It's a great story for our academy. Obviously, he's been there since 7 years of age for 10 years, and he's obviously developed through all the different age groups and into the, you know, onto the big stage and really made a name for himself.
And
So
I
in
will
that
say,
10
you
years,
know, his family wanted and were absolutely adamant in the negotiations with Dortmund that Birmingham City had to be recompensed for the work they put in with him. That's
was
a
a class,
credit
that
to
was.
him and his family.
That's close.
Yeah.
Close.
Sad,
was
isn't
a
it?
class
Second
act.
biggest city in the country we are, and we can't keep hold of a 17-year-old.
Yeah.
I don't
He's gone
think
to a
any
good club, though. You
club
know,
would
he's gone
only-
to a great club.
Yeah, I think any
So Martin
championship
Ward,
club would have.
sorry, I'm going to interrupt there because Martin Ward has just asked a question. Is Job any good? Martin, have a look at him on YouTube. My goodness gracious me. He is actually, I think, even better than his brother.
Yeah.
It looks class.
Wow.
Mark, you was about to say something, Mark?
No, I was just going to say, does anyone know if I was under the impression the whole family were going over, but it is just Jude. Is that right?
I've no idea.
question.
mate.
Good question.
No idea.
Good question.
Not
He's
sure.
sort of
Joe's
says keep
staying
right on
here, his
the
family
music
will
from
stay.
the USA.
There will be enough money for him to
Joining in,
live
Pete.
on
Nice
family,
one.
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
And according to Pete Taylor, as far as any kind of buyout goes, the Blues cleaner has heard a rumour about Sheikh and Vac coming in. Quality, absolutely superb.
Oh, well.
Be like a
So
fresh
what's
signing.
sorry, I was just going to say, what's everyone's thoughts then on Aitor Karanka? A pretty impressive appointment, in my opinion. Like you say, if he's able to do the job to be the best of his ability, I don't think he would have accepted the job had that not been the case. So let's hope that that can last, and it lasts, and we've got a bit of stability now over the next few years. He usually works on 3-year projects, doesn't he?
He always has a
Agreed,
project.
Paul. Right, and that's why I said right at the beginning is that he's got to be given the reins, and he's got to be given that responsibility, and he's got to be left alone.
Yeah.
I mean, the standard thing is 3 years, but I think this day and age, that doesn't really exist, does it? I mean, ideally you would, but you don't get that these days, do you?
No, but that's what we
I mean,
need, though, Mark. We need that now, though, don't we?
We do need it, yeah, we do. But
Yeah.
I'd say, I mean, I was joking in the week. I was joking on the page. I said I'd do a Alan Pardew dance if he lasted 6 months.
Well, I think that, one thing I'm going to be is try to be positive about it, because he's a better appointment than I thought we'd get.
Yeah.
Yes. Considering the state of it, yeah.
But get it, and full credit to Dong for persevering and persuading him to sign. But that's step one. That's only step one. Step two, and that's the important thing. Step two is making sure that he gets the job that he was interviewed for. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You interview and you got, and then the job you were in. So Dong has to make sure that because this is not a man who will hang around if anything isn't right. If the project, he left Forest, and his words were, the project changed. They were just outside the playoffs, I think, not far off the playoffs anyway.
They were seventh, weren't they? Yeah.
He said, the project has changed. He left Middlesbrough because he wouldn't put up with things. Now, I mean, was he sacked? It was mutual consent. Some papers in the Northeast said he quit. Others say he was sacked. I don't know. But what he does know is he doesn't worry about upsetting people. He's a strong, highly principled man. And if he doesn't believe he's got the job that he was interviewed for, he'll be down the road.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, let's hope that doesn't happen, because I tell you what, this club will probably go into, meltdown, to be honest with you, because we've got an opportunity. We've got a window now, an opportunity for the first time in a long time. You know, and I know about Rowett, and I know about like the others that have been, and Harry and one thing or another. But let's get this stability back. This is Birmingham City. We just need to be stable, under control, well managed, organised, and fight for that badge on the shirt.
Stable's one thing, and stability is important. But you know, our fans are crying out. The Blue Noses, and I use that word because I love it.
Yeah,
are crying out for football credibility and pride.
We're desperate, Tom. Yeah. We're desperate for it.
I think we want our
city in the country.
I think we want our identity back, to be honest.
Yeah.
We lost our identity big time.
Yeah. And I think a lot of the players that we saw towards the end of last season that looked a little bit lost out there, you know, with a bit more leadership and guidance, and they'll get a lot more, obviously, with this guy in charge. They'll look a bit reborn again, like they did when we went from Cottrell to Monk before, if you remember.
I think
we were a different team with more or less the same players, weren't we, back then?
I think he's more like Gary Rowett than anybody else. The way I'm on about style of play.
Yeah. Defensive, yeah.
He'll counter-attacking, which I find a little bit ironic that we spent a long time telling everybody we were getting rid of that and playing the passing game and all the rest of it. Now we've reverted to getting a manager who understands the importance of success, whichever way you have to do it. I think the biggest thing for me, any success will be as much to do with the relationship he has with Dong as it has with any player. It's always about Dong and his relationship, but there's always that little thing in the back of my mind. The owners in China, I think, because we often give Dong a lot of stick, and sometimes he deserves it. But I wonder how often the people in China are telling him what to do.
Yeah.
And we don't even know. I wouldn't know Paul Swell if I fell over him.
No, we don't know what he looks like, do we? Well, we do know what he looks like, yeah.
So you know, I just hope that because it was off and on, they've obviously come to some agreement. And I think that's probably been more to do with Karanka's demands than anything else. Yeah. So if they've agreed them demands, they've got to make sure they stick to them. Stick to them. Give this man a chance. He'll take time, and this is what Blues fans hate it. I hate it. Time and patience, but he needs time. His first season, three quarters of a season, whatever it was, at Middlesbrough, he was getting them consolidated. Second year playoffs final, third year promotion. We got to give him time.
Yeah.
And that's the important thing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got to be honest, Tom, with respect to like Nigel Clough and Lee Bowyer, I'd have been a bit disappointed if I'd have seen them sat there. I think we got the best man for the job.
I thought it was going to be one of those.
Did you?
Well, of that quality. But I think to get this man who's worked with Mourinho, he's been assistant manager at Real Madrid, he's won the Champions League as a player. You know, the guy's credentials are excellent. He's got a team.
What an opportunity. What an opportunity. Right, I can't find the gentleman's name. I'll try and find that in a second, Tom. But one of our listeners has asked what you think of Dong Ren.
Here's the truth. I don't know him well enough to form an opinion.
Right, okay.
He's the one thing I do, there's a few things. Whenever I've met him, he's been absolutely charming. Charming. Yeah. That's not the issue to me. What I think Dong's biggest problem is the wall of silence.
Yeah.
I know Blues fans like you do. Come out and talk to us. Come and tell us. Come and tell us you've got a problem. We'll back you.
Come on here and tell us.
We'll do whatever, but talk to the fans. And that's the biggest thing. Talk to the fans. It's this continued wall of silence about everything.
But isn't that the Chinese way, though, Tom? Isn't that the way They do
but
things.
with all due respect, if we were in the Chinese league, I'd agree with you. We're in the EFL.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely right. Well said.
Yeah. So maybe it's education that.
Tom,
Mainly,
you
yeah.
obviously cover all clubs, obviously all over the Midlands. Is it the same with West Brom and their Chinese owners, for example, and Wolves?
Well, Wolves are different because the owners leave it all pretty much the formation of the squad to Jorge Mendes and the super agent and the head coach. I think they're the ones that do everything, to be fair. West Brom, it's quite interesting because the chief executives quit today, Mark Jenkins, and they've put the guy who's the director, the Chinese guy, has now taken over as chief executive. So it'd be interesting to see how because he will have a more direct link to the Chinese owners than perhaps Mark did. Yeah. So it'd be interesting to see what happens there. But you know, it is a different culture, and I accept the different culture, different ways, different cultures. But when you move to another country, you have to adapt to their cultures as well.
Mate, so much common sense, Tom. So much common sense. Tom, I'm surprised you're not a world-renowned commentator, mate. I'll be honest with you.
I can't go to Spain. I can't go to Spain and tell and say, well, we don't do it in England. I have to abide by what they do and their rules. Here, I think people have to try to do the same, and that is the sadness. I worry as well, if I'm honest, all the trouble that's going on in Hong Kong. You know, it is difficult to get money out. That's a massive problem for all clubs to get money out of China. Big problem. So I don't know how big of a problem that's going to be for us to get any money. I don't think we've spent in my opinion, I don't think we've spent as much as some people think. I think if you go on transfermarket.co.uk, you can see all the ins and outs over the last five years. And I think you'll probably find it balances out pretty even.
Yeah, well, especially with Che Adams and now Jude sales as well.
Yeah.
Well, absolutely. But the club still owes 90-odd million to the international BIM, whatever it's called now, Birmingham International Holdings, whatever they call it. And it was interesting that Al-Majir mentioned that they have now bought 2 other businesses. Now, this is just me thinking outside the box. The reason they never sold Blues was because they needed the listing on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange.
Yeah.
Now they've got other businesses in Birmingham International Holdings making money. Does that make us maybe a bit more saleable? I don't know. If
they bought 2 businesses, Tom, that does mean that there is investment there. Yeah.
Profitable businesses, by the way, they bought.
Sorry.
They bought profitable businesses. And I think they said that they bought them because Birmingham City was hemorrhaging money.
Right.
As do all clubs, I think, at the moment.
Well,
interesting story. Anyway, Darren Swift wants to know, Tom, should Karanka go in for Britessa Belonga?
There's always this, isn't it? When a manager comes, they think, who did he have before? Hassan Belonga, I covered Forest a few times against all clubs and for TalkSport, and he was he's a handful. And if you're going to play with one up front, that's the sort of one you want. But I think to be fair, we've seen Jukovic can do that. And I think he got more goals than Hassan Belonga, didn't he?
Can we also now just say thank you to Lee Camp for all his services and some of those wonderful saves that he pulled off. We know that he struggled to get the Blues fans on his side, but you know what?
Some
I don't think we'd have survived this season. So thank you, Lee Camp. Lee Camp.
Absolutely. Goalkeeping Marmite. Listen, he saved us more points than he cost us, in my opinion.
Yeah, overall, I think you're right, Tom. And for what it cost, he's been a colossus, really, hasn't he, for the money? When you look at what it cost us.
Absolutely spot on. But when they talk about a goalkeeper, nobody ever says what's happening in front of him.
No.
You've got to have a look at what's happening in front of him as well, by the way. Yeah. I mean, look at De Gea. How much did he cost? The greatest goalkeeper in the world, and he's making some right howlers at the moment.
Yeah.
It can happen. I just think, and some of the mistakes, I mean, when he drops one, Lee Camp, it's a perler, isn't it?
It's a howler. Absolute howler.
You know, a right howler. So, but on the other hand, he makes great saves. He saves penalties.
I mean, some of them saves he pulled off last season, oh my God, they were like pretty much world class, some of them.
Oh, some of them will, worldies, yeah.
I do think he's had some unfair press. Some of the criticism has been justified, but some of it, I think they got it in their mind that whatever he did, they didn't want him, and that's sad.
Yeah, I think to be honest, I think some fans are a bit stubborn. I mean, I hand on heart, I wasn't his biggest fan at first, but fair play to him. You know, he shut people up.
That's a win me round as well, Mark, to be fair.
I'm just like you, Paul, yeah. Fair play to him. And I ended up liking him in the end.
Mark Yates is making a good point here, live. He's just
you
horrible
which one?
man.
I was just going to go for that one. Mark Yates, do you remember last week?
Yeah, last week. Yeah, Mark Yates, he's just saying that Camp's save at 1-0 against Charlton was pivotal to survival. Obviously, if we go two down there, it's game and season over.
Yeah.
Good point. Well made, Mark. Good point.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah.
And Brian Johnson says, "Come on, though, some of Camp's were clangers. They were, and we've just said that. But you know what? Like that one he pulled off at Watford. If it wasn't for that save, we wouldn't be in this division today."
Listen, let me tell you. For me, who's been around a long time, right? Jim Herriot, Andy Gosney. There are keepers I can tell you that are far worse than this man.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Andy Gosney.
We've got to go back some, though, haven't we, to get those keepers? Because we've been spoilt over the last 25 years.
Great keepers. Hart. Oh, Butland, great keepers. Yeah.
Mike Taylor, obviously we had on the other week as well. But flipping the coin, though, I've got to say, if we are ambitious and we do want to try and compete at the top end of the table, we do need, to upgrade in that position, don't we?
I think we upgrade in a lot of positions.
Yeah, I think nearly all, honestly.
I see fans saying, get the right manager, he can make this team can get us into the Premier League. I don't believe it. I don't think.
And you, Jordan, bring back Joe Hart. You have Joe Hart back, Tom.
I would. I thought Joe Hart was a great keeper for us.
He was superb.
Me too. I'd have him back.
Yeah. I'd have him back tomorrow, yeah.
How old is he, by the way? Anybody?
34, isn't it?
33, isn't it?
A goalkeeper age, that's nothing.
That's nothing. No.
But I wouldn't.
And also as well, Clark Salter and Hogan have gone back to their loan clubs as well, haven't they? To their parental clubs.
Yeah.
I don't. Yes. Again, they would have been very expensive wages for Hogan.
Yeah.
And Craig Salter at Chelsea. Could we have afforded them? That's the big question.
Yeah.
That's the big question. Maybe the manager says he doesn't want them because the one thing I don't think Hogan can do is play the single man up front.
No.
Because I remember at Middlesbrough, you remember he had Patrick Bamford at Middlesbrough?
Yeah.
And he wouldn't play him. And he wouldn't play him because he couldn't play the one up front role.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably the reason Hogan might not be here. But I think Jukovic, who I like Jukovic, he gets goals. Nobody works harder than the kid. And I just think he could play that role. Whether the manager fancies him, I don't know, but he can play it, that's for sure.
Well, he binned him off at Middlesbrough, didn't he, Tom?
That's the other thing.
If you're Juki and you see him walk through the door, what are you going to think?
Yeah, he wasn't getting 15 goals at Middlesbrough.
No, that's very true. I think out of Hogan and Clark Salter, I'd like to keep Clark Salter if we had the choice.
Yeah.
Because I think he's got
finance is going to dictate what we do, mate. I still believe finance will dictate what we do.
Yeah. You're looking at.
I think we've got to. I think we just got to be. I think we just got to be realistic. I mean, everyone's talking about the playoffs. I know, I get it. It's exciting. We've got a new manager, but I'll be happy with top 10.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, Mark, I agree. Look, we've got to be realistic, and I think every Birmingham City fan has got to take a little step backwards from this great announcement of the manager, and absolutely understand what we are and where we are at this present point in time. Right? Not a great deal has changed apart from Hogan's gone, Bellingham's gone, Camp's gone. It's now all about. It's got to be now all about what comes in, and they've got to be quality players who are going to work for the shirt and work for each other.
You know as well as anybody, whatever it is, whether you're buying furniture, you're booking a holiday, or you're buying footballers, quality costs money.
Absolutely, you get what you pay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
I still believe we'll go very young next year.
Yeah. I think we're going to have a transitional season, aren't we? We're going to be in transition for a season. He's not going to be able to buy the whole team all in one transfer window. It's going to take him a few windows to build it, isn't it?
I wonder I actually wonder whether many clubs will spend. I'm ignoring the Man Cities of this world. I wonder whether many clubs will spend a lot of money. with no revenue coming in.
Yeah. With what's gone on,
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult.
Remember, the lockdown and the closed doors, nobody, and I don't care who they are, nobody thought that day would come. No, they all got themselves hocked into debt, buying players and all the rest of it. Remember, on the assumption that next year's TV money will pay for what we're doing this year and all that, nobody thought the rainy day would come. They never put money aside for a rainy day. They never thought it would come. It came and caught them all out. That's why they're all screaming, we've got no money, we're in trouble. So, I think the one thing I do think will happen after this COVID is I think the game as we know it will change.
I think it has to, Tom.
Yeah.
For the better, hopefully.
Yeah.
Good point. Good point coming in here from Steve Portman. Tell Brentford that they spent very little and got quality in.
Yeah.
So it can be done on a small budget. Like when we look
Can
at
be
Brentford
in the Championship, yeah.
Yeah, it can be done.
I mean, look at Bournemouth the other year. In Bournemouth did, didn't they?
Yeah.
Burnley, Bournemouth.
Huddersfield,
yeah. Yeah.
So it can be done.
You don't need to splash the cash in the Championship. They've proved they can do it.
Look
You
at
need
Sheffield
commitment.
United, Mark.
You need
Where's
commitment.
Sheffield
You need
United
guile.
competitive?
You need spirit. You need inspiration. You need to be focused. You need to want to play for the team that you're playing for. You want to play for the badge that's on the shirt, right? And every single supporter that comes through those turnstiles deserves it.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's true.
Yeah.
I've almost finished my inspirational speaking for the year, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, good.
Well, Sheffield United, another good example, isn't it, as well?
Yeah.
Tyler Anderson just said it's all about confidence and momentum in this league.
Yeah.
I'll just say something. The amount of money spent by Brentford, 31.1 million.
Is that right, Tom? Bloody hell.
Yeah. They did get a lot of money in, but what I'm saying is the players on the pitch that they have there cost them 31 million. They recouped a lot of it by selling players, but you have to look at the value of the players on the pitch that they bought, and that's 31.19 million last year.
Wow. That's nothing in football terms, is it?
No.
It's a lot of money to me, mate.
Oh,
yeah. A lot of money that is, yeah.
That's a full back in
I'll take the £9.
Yeah.
I mean, Ollie Watkins, they spent 11 million on the centre forward.
Yeah.
Didn't realise it was that much. Is that Barami as well? Was he a lot of money as well?
I'll tell you, just bear with me. Barami, he cost nearly 10 million, 9.45 million.
Wow. So that's money well spent on them too, isn't it? Straight away.
Yeah. But there is a fallacy. They find them. What they do very well is they spend a lot of money, but they recoup a lot of money. So when they buy players, this is their owners play this Moneyball system, don't they? So when they buy players, they buy nobody who doesn't have a resale value, probably more than you paid for him. And that's how they do it. So it isn't that they get players cheap and play ever so well. They pay a lot of money for players, but they finance the buying of players by selling players. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But the value of that team on the pitch is over 30 million.
Wow.
It's incredible.
Interesting. Well, I think we've...
Transfermarket.co.uk if you want to check all the figures.
Which one? Say again, Tom.
Transfermarket.co.uk.
Oh, Tom, I thought it was all in your head.
I thought you knew
Yeah,
all this.
it was actually, but I'm just throwing that in.
I'm disappointed.
Okay, like I said, Lily, we've got to now once again forget last season. Right, it's done, it's finished, it's gone. We're still in the Championship. Now we've got to move on. Right, and the time to move on is, Tom, you've got a funny story about Keep Right On.
Oh, yeah, go on.
Well, it's interesting. Now, for those of a generation will remember that they used to have, in the cup final, it was a great day in the cup final. They had a form in the middle of the pitch with a man in the water conducting the community singing, Abide With Me and all that sort of stuff. And the Daily Express always put out a song sheet, which was handed out to everybody coming in.
Yeah.
And in 1957, Aston Villa beat Manchester United 2-0. Peter McFarlane scored twice. But in the pre-singing, all the Villa fans sang Keep It On to the End of the Road. It was one of the songs on the song sheet.
Oh.
So you've got 25,000 Villa fans singing Keep Right On.
Oh, if somebody recorded that, that'd be rich.
To find I've tried to find a record and can't.
That'd just be strange.
That knows this information, or anybody else that's got a recording of this, so that we can just laugh our socks up all summer long.
If you've got a recording of that, you are very, very rich.
It was only like a year after Blues had adopted it, if you like. But still.
Wow.
That's
that'd be like watching Blur sing an Oasis song, wouldn't it?
Yes, yeah. Or the Beatles singing the Stones. Yeah. Right.
Well, I've actually got, and I will text it to you. I've actually got a copy of the song sheet, and I will text it to you so you can see I'm telling the truth.
Oh yes, please.
Thank you very much.
I'll get that framed.
Wow. Not that we would doubt your truthfulness, Tom. Not for one specific moment, dear boy.
Of course not.
Yeah. Should we come on to have you
in
the week?
Go on, Nick. Go on, Mark. Paul.
Shall I come on to some of our viewers' questions from
yes,
the
please.
week?
Help yourself, yeah.
Yes, please. Yeah. Yes, go for it.
What we do is we just put on the page, any questions for you from our viewers. So, got a few questions for you off our viewers. So the first one is, Tom, Stephen Gill's asking, what was your first game? What was your first Blues game?
I'll never forget. 1956, April, West Brom and Blues won 2-1 at St Andrews. It was for my birthday. My dad took me, and I went there knowing that Blues were in the cup final. I didn't go, but I knew they were in the cup final, and there were 6 in the old First Division, the top flight. And I thought, this is the club for me. Little did I know, but that was my first game, and he took me because he used to stand on the what is now the walk up Emmeline Street, up the steps, and then down to the front by the wall, and to see. And as Bobby Robson so eloquently put it, you see that your first time you see that grass, that green, you fall in love with it.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And Eric Bullock's asking, what's the best question night you've hosted? So, the forums, obviously, that you do. What's your favourite one you've ever done?
For Blues or any club?
I'd say Blues, yeah, Blues.
For Blues.
Where's Carson Young?
I remember doing a forum with David Gold and Karen Brady. I think it might have been at the Land Rover Sports and Social Club. It was absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
No, and David Sullivan, I think, as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Rover Sports and Social Club, Tessel Lane.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. They had 700 people in there, and the guy said to me, they had another 3,000 requests for tickets.
Wow.
It was absolutely stunning.
I remember going to one with you at the Sedgmere with Barry Fry and Liam Deitch in about 90. Yeah, I remember that one. I was at that one in about 95, I think that was.
We've done a few at the Sedgmere. They're great people there, I've had some great fun at the Sedgmere. Real blue nose place.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, that was
really good fun. But they're good fun. Barry Fry, he can't help himself. Barry Fry just brings the play. He does to question and answer things the same way he did to the club. He gives the place a lift, and everybody's singing "Keep Right On," and you're thinking, "What am I doing?" But he gets you at it, and he got the players at it, didn't he? He got the players at it. He gets everybody at it. Just absolutely brilliant. I love the guy. He came to my wedding a few years ago, and he lit the place up there. To be fair, he's
brilliant bloke.
Just a top man.
Mark, you wanted to come in. Mark.
Oh, so I was going to say, Tom, you're going back to the Karen Brady one. Was that not long after they took over?
It wasn't long after they took over, correct?
I think I remember that one. Yeah, remember listening to that on the radio. Yeah, that was a good one.
And David Sullivan didn't do anything else. He's never done one since.
No.
Oh, wow.
David Gold.
What would be we might as well do both. So, what would you say was your favourite one in football as a whole?
I did one. Last year. It's for West Brom, to be fair, to celebrate their great escape. I hosted it with Paul Robinson, Jeff Horsfield, Jonathan Greening, and Andy Johnson. How we weren't all arrested, I have no idea. It was the night. The fans, there was tears streaming down their faces. They were absolutely hysterics. It was just a wonderful night. To be fair, it's something I love doing. I've loved doing all the forums on radio. When they're not on radio, they're a bit more freer and you can have a bit more fun. But I've loved doing them all. I mean, every manager's done them and they've been absolutely brilliant. I do them for the Former Players Association, and we did one recently for Strikers Night, and that was fantastic. John Gale, from all the eras, we got on stage from different eras, the strikers.
Yeah.
From each era, we'd have a couple of strikers talking, even back to the 40s. We had the guy up, Jackie Lane, from the 40s and 50s. So we had all eras covered, and it was great. And like the banter was just amazing. John Gale, because John Gale, let me tell you, John Gale doesn't believe it. But when we went to the Leyland Daft final, and I travelled with the team. I've told all the stories before, but training, he could not hit a cow's backside with a banjo. There was a big wall, and he kept smashing the wall over. In the end, the players made him go and get the ball back. Now, he said on that night, the question answer, it's a lie, that never happened. I found a photograph of him climbing back over the wall with the balls in his hand. So he couldn't hit anything. But I tell you what, on the day, did he just? Yeah. Did he just?
What a moment, Tom. What a moment. What a moment to be a Birmingham City fan that was. That.
It's a Leyland Daft, for God's sake, but who cares? We had 50,000 people there.
Yeah.
And it was the most amazing. I've got to tell you, in terms of memories for me, I travelled on the coach from the college, and as we turned up Wembley Way, which was the last time a coach was allowed to travel up Wembley Way, we turned up Wembley Way, the sea of blue and white.
Incredible.
Tears to your eyes, mate. It was so emotional to turn and just see that sea of blue and white. I'll never forget it. I put a picture of it in my book, and it's something I'll never, ever forget.
No,
I was doing live commentary back to BRMB as I turned up there, and I just welled up. It was just so emotional.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Daniel Jordan's asked, Tom, can you please say Ding Dong Derby as he misses those days? It's going to be a while till we get
To be fair, the Ding Dong Derbies were brilliant. Some, to be fair, had more ding than dong. And some had more dong than ding.
We don't want any more dongs.
Oh, controversial.
Controversial. Yeah, but I love derby games. And I tried to make them fair. So I'd always have a pundit from each club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That ensured it was fair. But I love doing Blues Villa games. But I preferred doing them at Villa Park. I love the Blues fans, the noise they made from that corner there. It's just amazing. And as a fan, I'd been to Villa Park in the 60s, 70s and stood in the North End and got soaking wet because they had no cover on the stand there. Soaking wet watching Blues beat them. Just tremendous derby games. I love it. And for me, I mean, I'm a massive football fan, but Blues Villa Blues is always special to me. I can't sleep for a week.
No,
mate. I'll tell you what. It's the first thing. You're waiting for those fixtures to come out, aren't you? And like you're not interested if you've got first game, last game, anything. You just want to see those two fixtures. Where am I doing? How am I going to cancel my holiday?
I still think that it's still probably one of the best derbies in the country.
Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
It doesn't get the credit it deserves.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
I mean, we're on each other's doorsteps, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know.
It's better, and I don't care what anybody says. It's better. Not only Blues Villa, but they get carried away with the North London derby.
Oh yeah.
The West London.
With the prawn sandwiches.
The Manchester derby. They get carried away. The atmosphere isn't
the glory on the derby.
Blues Villa's brilliant. Yeah. Villa West Brom's good. Villa West Brom's a great atmosphere for a generation. That was the big derby.
Yeah.
None of us were in the same division as them. Albion Wolves. But Sheffield United, Sheffield Wednesday is tasty, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, they're great derbies in the north that don't get a mention.
No. But they all sit next to each other.
For me, the most ridiculous derby that they were even trying to call a derby was Brighton against Crystal Palace.
Oh, don't get. Of course, yes.
The battle of the A23.
A23, yeah.
They're miles away.
Miles away from each. Yeah, madness.
It's
Anyway,
next... Coventry's big derby. Well, it isn't really a derby, but they have a big animosity with Leicester.
Leicester,
and they called that the Battle of the M69 because one was the each end of the M69.
Yeah.
Tom, Lisa Fields asking, Tom, what's the best game you have ever commentated on from Ryan, aged 8?
Oh, Ryan, what a man. Ryan.
Question.
Keep right on, Ryan.
Right.
If you could go back, relive being in that gantry commentating on this game, what would it be?
I have to say the Carling Cup final was very, very special to me.
Oh, got to be.
Yeah.
The playoff final was absolutely special.
Yeah.
The first derby game back in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Was special.
Oh God, yeah.
But I'm, and those are the ones that got, listen, I know this is a Blues program, but West Brom in their promotion year had to go to Bradford.
Had to what? Sorry, Tom.
Had to go to Bradford, and they won 1-0 with a penalty from Eagle Ballis. And all of a sudden, they're very like Blues. When they scored, fans came from everywhere, from the tunnel, from the director's box, Albion. And I think I love doing those sort of games. Yeah. But for me, the three I've mentioned would be the ones that stick out for me.
Can I mention another one, Tom, please?
Go on.
West Ham at home. In that
the semi-final.
The sound of bubbles are popping all over the
Oh, yeah, great commentary.
Mate, it's just so iconic. It's beautiful. I've got goosebumps on goosebumps thinking of that one.
Well, brilliant. It's the Carling Cup next year, as you know.
Oh, right.
So on the anniversary of the day, at exactly the programme time, I'm running the whole programme. From 2 o'clock, say it was at 3 o'clock. What time did it kick off the Carl? I can't remember.
It was a 3 o'clock kickoff, wasn't it?
3 o'clock, wasn't it?
No, 5 o'clock.
It was
5 o'clock. So I'm going to 4 o'clock.
It's 4, it's a late one.
4 o'clock.
Yeah.
I'll start the program at 2 with all the build-up and just let it run into the commentary and the phone-in afterwards. The pre-match thing, when I have a man out with the fans, Adam Bridge, who's now talks sport with me, he was my reporter with the fans, and there were some amazing stories of he went to one guy and he said, who are you? And he said, Tom, let's go to Adam. Adam, who are you with? I'm with John. John, who have you come with today? So I've come with my mate. He said, and Adam said, well, something like, well, has he gone for the pies? And this guy picked up an urn. His mate had died. And he said, I promised him I was bringing him to the cup final when we got there.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, I'm not, I've got to tell you, that brought a lump to my throat.
Oh, my God.
That brought a lump to my throat. And then there was I went back to him and he said, I'm with a young man, Jordan. What do you think being at Wembley? This kid said, oh, it's smashing. And Adam said, do you play? And he went, oh, yeah, I play football. He said, you'd love to play on this pitch, wouldn't you? And the young kid said, I did last week for the English schools.
Superb.
Just the whole day was like that. And the commentary when Obafemi Martin scored, you can hear John McCarthy giggling. I don't know why he's giggling, but he's giggling. I think it's his nerves. I looked around at Colin Tatton, I looked at the ref, I looked at the lines, and I said, go on, this is Birmingham, you've got to do something. And they didn't. Absolutely amazing.
What amazing memories. Amazing memories. Tom, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, I just remember the numbness when we scored. I went numb, I did. I went numb when we scored, when Martin scored, I just went numb.
Oh.
It don't work on the radio, that.
No. Go on, Nick.
Yeah, well, first off, Tom, my greatest moment was when Obafemi Martin scored. And obviously, once we'd realised we'd just won that major trophy that I'd craved for all my life, I looked to my left and my 3 sons were stood next to me. You know what a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful moment that was. Like to be able to go with your 3 boys, you know. I know my daughter's she's not into football, but like, you know, them lads that stood there and I said, look, just take this in because it will probably never, ever, ever happen again. And I stood there and the tears just rolling down my face.
What did it for me was 2 things. One, I'd been at the 1963 one. Saw Blues beat Villa 3-1 home and away.
I was only 2.
Well, I was a kid from school. I went with my mate Cornelius Walsh, Connie Walsh, and we Blues fans who watched it. But it wasn't a major. I know they say it is. It wasn't a major competition. The big teams weren't in it. There was no European qualification. The final wasn't at Wembley. So it was great to win, but it wasn't a major competition. The other thing that gets to me when I enjoyed the Carling Cup so much was we were robbed in the Worthington Cup final.
Absolutely.
So that made it sweeter.
All the best.
Yes.
Yeah.
That made it sweeter for me.
Maybe it's a 10-year thing. Maybe it's a 10-year thing because in 2001 we got to the final. 2011 we won it. So this time next year, as Dal would say,
Mr. Hipkiss. Mr. Hipkiss.
That section will be recorded.
Well, I already did a Mystic Meg last week, so why not do another one this week?
You did, yeah, of course, yeah. You predicted Karanka coming, didn't you?
It's League Cup or FA Cup?
Sorry, Tom.
Any
League Cup or FA Cup?
Oh, Tom, we'd take anything.
I'm going to say FA Cup.
Yeah, I'd go for FA Cup. We've won the League Cup. That don't matter anymore.
Yeah, greatest day in my life, that would be.
I'm not saying we'll win it, but we might get to the final.
That'll do me.
That'll do me as well.
Yeah.
No, it won't do me. If we're in the final, mate, we've got to win it. We've got to win it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We want to take that silverware home.
And
then we want to shout out
amazing.
across the A38. Oh, look at this.
Oh, no, I would love it.
Imagine. We've only got to get to a semi-final, though, and we're at Wembley, haven't we? Which I disagree with, but that's the way it is.
I do as well.
Can I just say, though, how gutted would you be if we got to a final and we weren't allowed in?
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I mean, look,
we'd probably go.
Nothing would stop
Europe and all that. But you know what? To have an
I
FA,
would be the oldest ball boy behind the goal.
Actually, there'd be 5 old boys.
I work in pubs, as you know, right? And we were talking the other day about the FA Cup final. And when we was kids, right, the FA Cup final used to go on for about 3 weeks before and after. Yeah. We'd have all the builds up. We'd have the camera crews going into schools. We'd have this, and now, like the old chap on that bit of bloody scaffolding with his white coat on, trying to raise the fans, and it was like a proper British occasion. You know, it was real, and it was in your face, and you knew about it, right? And that day, 10 o'clock, as soon as Tiswas had finished, boom, that FA Cup final was on all day long. And then to see whichever team it was, right, go around their towns and their cities in that open top bus with that trophy, that iconic trophy in their hands. Now, we'll put it on at half 5. It would do.
Yeah, that's right.
I love the build-up. The FA Cup question of sport, the players visiting the hospital. I loved all that.
Wasn't it brilliant?
Meet the players.
Why do you think, Tom? Why do you think they've watered it down so much?
No, I tell you what's done it. Money.
Really?
If you got Champions League qualification for winning the FA Cup, and you got 50 million for winning it, they'd take a lot more interest in it.
Yeah, and I think that's the way it should be.
They've demeaned the greatest domestic cup competition on the planet.
And in the universe.
When I was a kid, nobody ever said, "Oh, I want to play for England. I want to play for Scotland. I want to win the Champions European Cup." What people said was, "I want to lead my team out at Wembley in the FA Cup."
Oh, man. Oh, dear. Oh, what
did you watch it? Did you watch the cup final Saturday?
I did, actually. Never ascended in a million years.
No, red card was ridiculous.
Cheating. The player who rolled around holding his leg like he'd been hit by a sniper should have been sent off.
Yeah.
I hate that side of it. If I'm honest, I love football with a passion. I hate this is what drives me nuts. They all wear T-shirts warming up respect. They all shake each other's hand. And then they spend 90 minutes cheating each other.
Yeah.
Diving, cheating. I hate it.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Sorry, can I just say, I've been watching, I don't know whether you watch it, I've been watching what do they call it? Football match with Revisited.
Revisited, yeah.
And I tell you, there wasn't the technical ability that we see, the step overs and the drag backs and the tricks. But let me tell you, it was more exciting. It was in the penalty area. Great saves, hit the post, tackles. It was more exciting than this dribble of centre halves passing to each other that we get today.
Yeah.
It's more exciting.
Paul?
We're just going to come on to the next question from one of our viewers. So David Sherlock's asking, Tom, any thoughts on a second book? You really enjoyed The Game's Gone.
Well, to be fair, I've been asked to do a series of books on not just on football, but on individuals in football and their story, or in boxing on their story. So I'm looking at that, but they've asked me to update The Game's Gone because there's been a lot happened since Pano and his lot went.
Yeah,
just
so I've got. I'll tell you what, though. Sometimes you sit back and think he weren't that bad. When you think you look at what's happening today, But nevertheless, I just feel that it's about time as well with me. I've got to be in the mood. I've been doing it today during lockdown. I've been getting stuff down, so we'll see where it goes. But I've been talking to a few people. I've got this idea, a kernel of an idea for a football soap, a TV program, a football soap that I've been talking to some famous actors. One of them who's been in Peaky Blinders, and he likes the idea of it, and he's a blues fan. So we're looking at that. So I've got things that I'm working on.
Yeah, Tom, you ready? Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Sorry, you should be holding one that says Peaky Blinders.
Yeah, bring it on.
I'll tell you what, Liam Ridgewell could have stood in for a Peaky Blinder last week, couldn't he?
With his tash.
With that moustache.
The moustache was superb, wasn't it?
Yeah, it looked superb.
Who was that?
Liam Ridgewell.
What's that?
Ridgewell, yeah.
Yeah, Ridgewell, yeah.
He looked like the Pringles logo.
He did, yeah.
He's a great lad, by the way, Ridge.
Yeah, really, really nice. But you know what, Tom?
And a good player, by the way. He won the most valuable player of the season in America.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
That's okay. Yeah. That's quite an honour, really. Yeah.
We decided, Tom, to do this. Right, we had a little chat after lockdown, and like we said that we were going to keep in touch with our. They're not their supporters. They're family. Yeah, they're family. They're all family. All of them. Right, and we decided that we were going to do this. And Craig Courtney, I've got to give him so much credit for the amount of stars and guests that he's pulled in. What an absolute star and a legend that young lad is. Bless him.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much, Craig Courtney. And
you know what, Craig?
Yeah. Brilliant.
Forward for next season.
And we've had Savage, we've had Ridgewell, we've had Carsley, we've had Jono, we've had like a multitude of ex-Birmingham players
and top names.
And then I'm not doing any bullcrap here or nothing, Tom. But to have you on the last show of our season is stunning, brilliant.
You know what I was going to say when first come on was who turned you down?
I missed that one.
Who's turned him down? Who turned us down?
No, even the horse turned up.
Listen, I've got number 12 on my back, mate.
Number 22.
No, Tom, you
number 12. So get the sub on.
No,
anyway, I love it.
Right,
I love
Tom,
it.
my question to you then, Tom.
Yes.
Is what was the first ever Birmingham City game that you commentated on? Where was it at? And how did you feel about, like, you've got to be, and I've spoken to you personally about this before, and I know how consummately professional you are. Like, you'll commentate unobjectively on a Villa game or a West Brom game, but your very first Birmingham City game, how was it for you?
Well, we only did, in early days before Capital took us over, we only did certain games commentary, which George always did, and I'd probably be the pundit. So I was always bitty. But the first game I did actual live commentary on was, funny enough, the Leyland Daft final. And I did it from the bench.
What?
I did
really?
it from the bench.
Really?
I was sitting next to Robert Hopkins on the bench.
Yeah.
I'm down on the official list as a trainer, as a physio. It wasn't allowed, by the way. We just broke the rules. That was Lou Macari.
Right. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I read something about that. Tom, have you still got that tracksuit, that dodgy West Midlands travel tracksuit?
Funny enough, I have in the loft. It's put in one of them airtight bags, you know, the blue, yellow, and white.
That's the one. Yeah.
Well, I had to wear that, and I got my headphones in a bucket.
Yeah.
What did the Tranmere bench think, Tom, of one of the physios commentating on the game?
Well, you're further away at Wembley. But I sat next to Wappy, who was moaning all the time because he hadn't gone on.
He was.
But I did.
You
know what? For him as a player, You know, with the service he gave us, that was a real shame, to be honest with you, because when he came on at the end and we were all singing "I, you know what? If he had his 5 minutes, you know, shame. That was a tough one to take. That was.
Yeah, as Tom says, he knew it was his last chance, really. Yeah.
But I remember going to Rochdale. Terry Cooper was the manager, and I used to travel with the team then, and I got off the bus, and there was no press ticket for me. In them days, it didn't matter. So Terry Cooper said, "Come and sit on the bench. Do your reporting from the bench. This is a game." So I'm sitting next to the manager, reporting on the game. If you remember, Mark Cooper got sent off. In the game. Yeah. And I'm doing a live report, and I can hear Terry Cooper going, "Don't forget to tell him what a prat he is."
I actually wrote to Terry Cooper. Do you remember Tom, that infamous Stoke City game at St Andrews with Mr. Wiseman and one thing or other?
They all emptied the ground. We carried on. We played out the game.
I wrote to Terry after that because I was actually stood in the Cobb with a Stoke fan, right, who came from my town, because I live up this way anyway, right? And I took him to St Andrews, and you know what? Not only was I embarrassed, obviously, right, but the second it kicked off, I said to him, "We're out of here," right? And we went over. I'd actually got back home. I'd driven 60 miles before that game had finished. And I wrote to Terry on how sorry I was about all the events and one thing and another. And he wrote, and I've still got it, he wrote such a lovely letter back. What a charming man. What a lovely man. He wrote me such a lovely letter back, and he took the time. You know what I mean? I appreciate that.
He's a lovely man. I speak to him regular.
Did you?
I spoke to him. It was his birthday, 75th birthday, a couple of weeks ago. And I rang him because he's in Tenerife, and he's had cancer, which he's been battling with.
I didn't know, to be fair, no.
And then he fell off. He fell off a ladder and broke his hip, and so he's had it tough. He's still in great form. He was chatting about Jack Charlton and Blues, and it's amazing. Whatever managers I speak to, no matter where they've gone, they always talk about our club.
Yeah.
And he loved it here.
If you speak to him again, Tom, send him our regards and tell him how much he was absolutely loved while he was with us. He still is, for crying out loud. If he wants to come on next season and have a Zoom session, help himself, because he'd be so welcome.
What's his son doing now? Is his son still?
He's manager of Forest Green, isn't he, or something?
Forest Green, of course, yeah.
Yes, he lives in. I think he moved out of Solihull, Mark. But Terry won't be over for a bit. But when he does come over, I mean, we'll catch up. He's just him and Rose are just absolute lovely, proper down to earth Yorkshire people.
Nice bloke, really nice. Do you know what? We played a game. There's a little village here called Roaster, where Mark Sale came from. Yes. Mark Sale was playing for Roaster at the time, and Terry Cooper signed him. Yeah, and I went to that game at Roaster, right? And Terry Cooper was stood at the bar, and I bought him a pint. Do you know what? He never bought me one back.
He knows you. Mark Sale, he was always part of Gary Rhodes' backroom team. He was quite funny because he was a striker at our club, and I think the goalkeeper Kevin Paul scored more than him.
Yeah.
I wind him up about it.
He quite often comes to the local pubs around here.
He's a great lad. He was my Hearts player on the team bus. He was my Hearts player. Great lad, Mark Sale. Absolutely.
Yeah, nice bloke. Yeah, he's all right. He's pigging tall. Crying out loud. I have to break his neck and talk to him.
Yeah. Tom, what's the funniest thing you've ever seen from a Blues player as a prank or story you can tell us? Anything that sticks to mind that will be with you forever that's hilarious?
Without getting in trouble.
There is a savage one I can't tell you, but I'll tell you privately one day. That was really funny. But it's funny about a player. I think the funniest is the manager, really.
Yeah.
It was Barry Fry. When I do these question and answers with him, and he talks about the Ancona debacle in Grey.
Oh yeah.
He talks about that, and Jono, and he came on and he pinched Tatey, and so Dacey got it, and Dacey led the charge and went down there, and Dacey smashed him, and he was come out on a stretcher. Yet after the game, when I interviewed him, I said, "What do you make of all that?" He went, "I didn't see anything officially," and yet he talks about he saw everything. And every time I see him, I remind him, you saw nothing, and yet you saw everything. And now they're trying to get Jono, David Howells back. They're trying to get them back to face the courts long after they did. And Barry, and neither of them would go. And I think Michael Johnson still refuses to go to Italy.
Oh yes, we did. We asked him that.
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah.
Tom, we had this question a couple of times tonight. This one's from Graham Haynes, and he says, "Does Tom miss doing the phone-ins?"
That's the bit I miss most of all, if I'm honest. I love the phone-ins.
Yeah.
I absolutely love doing the phone-ins. I tell you what I think local radio doesn't do, independent local radio doesn't do, is that engagement with people. Because you have to share the highs, the lows, your emotions, you share their tears, you share their joy, that's what it's about. And sadly, that's lacking. That's lacking.
Yeah. Oh, crikey. Really used to enjoy getting in the car after the game and switching on the radio. Oh, they were great days. We had some very funny callers as well. Yeah. Lee the Baggies fan was funny. Lee the Baggies fan was hilarious. Ashok the Villa fan was hilarious. He always took the pee out of Blues, but he was very, very funny. We had some great callers. There's a guy who used to ring up Tony Butler, then he rang me all the time, called Akka, Villa fan. Akka.
I remember him, yeah.
Akka, always rang him. Well, he quit, sold his business, went to live in Spain. And he sent me a photo. He sent me a big envelope with photographs in. And the first photograph said, "Tom, show this to the Villa fans up the Villa." And the second photograph, he was mooning and said, "Show this to the Blues fans." I love that banter. I love that banter. I love the banter. I think anybody that goes over the line, wants to punch people on a pitch, I have no time for it.
Here's my little story, Tom.
Here's
my story for the end of the season. Right, I was watching Sky Sports, when they do all the scores on that coming in with what's his name?
Jeff Sterling.
Thank you. Yeah. And I was in the pub. Obviously, the pubs up here are full of Derby fans, and Derby were playing us, and we were losing 3-1. And then at the end of the Premier League one, when that dubious goal against Sheffield Wednesday managed to keep a football team in the Premier League with all the technology that we've got, by the way, all the technology in the world, And I walked around the corner, and there was he's a great friend of mine. He's a lovely man. We call him Cabbage, believe it or not. His name was Cabbage before the Cabbage incident. He's a Villa fan, And we stood there, and he goes, he called me all sorts, like, "You blue nose, da 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 da." He says, "Let me get you a beer." So, and we stood there for about 3 hours, just chatting and having the banter. And he goes, "You know what? I really like you because you talk real." I said, I talk a game of football. I talk about the fans. I talk about the pies. I talk about anything. I talk about Mark's robe a lot. But you know what? It was lovely. It was lovely to stand next to a Villa fan, and they just had their moment of glory, and and shake his hand, And then there's another one in town. I meet him every single Remembrance Day outside Domino's Pizza. He will come around the corner, I'll always be standing there. I shake his hand, he shakes my hand, right? And then at the end of that service, I shake his hand, he shakes my hand, and we call each other everything under the sun after that.
Brilliant. I love the banter. Banter's great.
Yeah.
I remember a guy ringing me up after Blues had beaten Villa in that first game since back in the Premier League. And he said, Tommy said, my neighbour, big Villa fan, he said, I got every time he's always out giving me grief. He said, tonight I've walked past his house 100 times in my Blues top and he won't come out. He said, and he walked up and down the road just willing him to come out. I love that banter. I love it. Yeah. I love everything that goes with that.
But don't get me wrong, Tom. I hate their football club with a passion, right? But it's not hate with a brick in my hand.
Yes.
Yeah.
You get me?
That's absolutely spot on.
It's not hate with the brick in the hand. It's like hate destroying them when they're like down.
You can be passionate. You can be passionate about your country without hating other countries. You can be passionate about your football club without hating others. That's
of course you can.
How I look at it is,
I've got Villa fans on my social networks, and when they're going for a hard time, I rib the absolute rockets out of them, and they do the same back to me. You know what? And if
Well,
we can make a joke of it and make each other laugh, then ain't that much better than putting a fist in somebody's face?
I just don't talk to them.
If one of my children was desperately ill and needed an operation,
yeah,
and the surgeon said I'm a Villa fan, am I going to say?
No, what I said this about racism last week.
I don't want you doing it. Sod off. I had to have an operation. Many years ago, 20 odd years ago, at the Solihull Pupa Hospital, Spire.
Yeah.
And I went into the theatre. I was awake while they were doing it. And on one side of me, I've got a nurse who's Villa, and one side of Blues. It was hilarious. This guy's stopping a hole in my leg, and he's laughing because he's a Chelsea fan. And these two are at each other's throat, and I'm getting the up, and I'm trying to keep these two apart. That's how football gets you, and I love it. Yeah. I love it.
That's also how it should be, right? You know, some of the things that we've seen at St Andrews over the years with the Villa game when we knocked them out the quarterfinals, I go, no, come on, we're better than this. We've got it's 2020. Come on, stop it.
Nick, my missus said to me, when this pandemic's all over in the future, we'll have to get away and stay in a nice villa. And I said, there's absolutely no way. Could you stay in something called that?
Actually, I've been to 32 different countries around the world. And one of the places I haven't been to is Portugal because of that reason.
Well, there's a mate in Spain, Big Blues fan, who you see all these, they call them Villa Tiberio, Villa this. He's called his place Villa Nil.
I've seen the SOT Villa
on Facebook not so long ago. It was I can't really say it because there's children listening one thing or another, but I'll do it off air. Anyway, we're just about 16 or 17 minutes to go of the whole 2019.
1 to 11.
We're going to do 1 to 11.
You've got something very, 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 very special for us, haven't you, mate?
Well, it'll provoke argument, and by the time I get downstairs from my office after finishing, I'll have changed it 25 times. But as I sat thinking about it, I've gone in goal, Gil Merrick.
Yeah.
Who was phenomenal.
Definitely.
I've gone a centre-half pairing of Cunningham and Trevor Smith. Right back, Gary Rowett. Left back, Gary Pendry.
Yeah.
Midfield, I mean, I've got Beard, I've got Page, I've got so many to choose from, but I've gone 3 in midfield. Alan Campbell, who in my opinion never got the credit for being the provider for Francis Latchford and Hatton. Yeah. He was immense for me. You need somebody to cause mayhem, so I've gone for Sav. And I've got, in the number 10 role, Dugarry.
Well, you can't not, can you?
Sorry, who was causing mayhem, Tom, did you say? Savage, yeah. Okay,
I don't have to tell you the front 3, do I?
No. Is it Holy Trinity?
Francis Latchford Hatton, the front 3.
Holy Trinity.
Yeah. It couldn't be anything else, could it?
No, not for me.
Not at our age, Tom.
I know
is that Kevin Francis?
A lot of younger people who differ from that, but like if they actually go back and look at the old videos of these 3 together, man, they were just a tank. They were awesome.
How many right backs did we had? I could have gone Stephen Carr. Listen, Ray Martin played over.
What a great player!
Yeah.
I could have gone left back. I could have gone Dennis.
Yeah, Davy Langham. Davy Langham.
Ranger, yeah.
Langy right back. Langy was a great
right back. Yeah.
I could have gone. You know, what I've tried to do is make sure it's got a balance. Balance of what you can do. You could have gone centre half. I could have gone Joe Gallagher. Joe was brilliant for us.
Yeah.
Scott Dan was brilliant for us. Cunningham, I love watching Cunningham.
Matthew great player.
Upson.
Yeah.
Upson.
Like, maybe the best thing to do is a team for the 90s, a team for the 80s, team for the 70s.
That's a great team, though, Tom.
It's a great team. And who's your captain, Tom? Who would be captain in that team?
In that team, Trevor Smith.
Yeah.
Trevor.
And where do you think it would?
Gary Pendry.
Yeah. And where do you think that would finish in today's game? That team?
Oh.
Well, I think we'd only finish second because most of them are over 70. So we only finished second.
Sorry, Tom. I missed who you had in goal.
Gilmerrick.
Gilmerrick in goal. Yeah.
Who else?
Who else? Exactly. Who else?
I have to be honest. I was a massive fan of Ben Foster.
Yeah. Good
Yeah.
I love Foster. I loved Joe Hart.
Mike Taylor.
So many good keepers we've had.
Oh,
Johnny
man,
Schofield was a great keeper, Johnny Schofield.
Gary Sprague.
I mean, Barry Bridges on the wing. I mean, where do I stop with great players? But that. I think that today would win the championship.
Yeah.
By certainly by February.
Yeah.
Then we can concentrate on the Carling Cup and the FA Cup.
Definitely.
Incredible.
Yeah. Good stuff. Excellent.
Also, you've got something else very special for us, Tom. You've gifted us something which we're going to use next season on the Tilton Talk Show 2020-21. Excuse me. And wow, what a piece of memorabilia this is. Off you go.
It's those of you that were at the playoff final will remember all the photographs with the EFL and nationwide flag, if you remember.
Yep.
That the players held up. Well, I've got that signed by all the players.
Oh my God! This is like what? Why haven't I got £1 million?
Yeah, that's gone. That's
you
gone.
talk amongst yourselves. I'm just going to make sure that's absolutely correct. I'm going to get it out the door.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's fantastic. So
Superb. And we'll do something with that next season, Tom, and we'll know that we'll keep you informed, obviously.
I've now got it out.
Oh, crikey.
And it is.
Sorry, is what?
I've now. I shouldn't say that I've now got it out.
I know, no, with no video. No, with no video.
Nationwide playoff winners, and it's signed by every single player.
Really?
Whoa!
I'm on my way over. I'm going to burgle you tonight. End off. That's it, mate. I'm right there.
Yeah, great memorabilia.
I'll hold you to hostage. Anything you want.
That's fantastic.
You know, and if you can raffle or auction it. And half the money goes to charity and half goes to Tilton Talk to help it do the great service that you do.
How nice is that? What
Yeah,
a
that's
gesture.
brilliant.
Ladies and gentlemen, what a
Oh, that'd be fantastic. Well, that will be.
The neighbours will be glad to see me take it down from outside. I'm in a big villa area.
Oh dear, never mind.
Who is?
He's in the big villa area. Tommy's.
Tommy's?
Yeah, Tommy's. Yeah,
Sutton, isn't it?
Must be a posh area.
I'm a missionary.
Loud and proud. Loud and proud.
Just to tell people, we hope to have a little charity night as well, maybe just half hour.
Brilliant.
Our show during the off season, because we have got a few things that have been given to us, including that fantastic Liam Daesh shirt, which was his.
Oh my God!
One he wore,
Chris, how am I going to get over this?
The one he wore in his last game, I think it was against Huddersfield. Am I right, Paul?
Yeah.
Yeah, Paul.
When we got
Paul. Sorry, even I can remember that.
yeah.
Well done, Nick.
Yeah. So we've got that. We've got another shirt as well, which is signed by the whole squad from this season, which and again, that's a fantastic prize. Sorry.
I've got the two signed footballs, which are donated.
Two signed footballs, yeah. That's good. That's fantastic. Yeah. So we should have. We hope to do that during the off season and have a charity night, which would be fantastic. Raise a few quid.
Normally, right, we're off for the whole of the close season. Normally, right? You know what? We're having a 3-week sabbatical now. And then we're going to be back. And I am so proud of every member of this team and everybody that has come on these shows, right, for helping us out, for keeping people connected, right? And I think that was so vitally important, and all our vulnerable friends. And I just can't wait to see them all again. And Brenda Brown said earlier, she's missing everybody so much, and she can't wait till we're all back together at some kind of normality, whatever that is, right? And just remember, you know what? We're Birmingham City. We are a family, one family. There is no prejudice. There is no racism. There is no isms. There's nothing, right? Because we are what we are.
Well said.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well
It's been a pleasure to be part of it as well. This series has been fantastic.
Mate, Paul, I tell you what I'm 59 on Christmas Day. I've never mentioned that my birthday's on
Really?
Christmas Day.
Here we go again.
59 on Christmas Day.
Okay.
And
you know, you share that birthday
10
with
years
somebody,
of my life. This has just been the biggest privilege, right? And I've worked in clubs, nightclubs, and this, that, and the other in my younger days and what have you.
Strip
but
clubs.
This has just been like, this is it. This is my vocation. This is what I want to do. And I dedicate anything to doing what we do here because we do so much for other people, right?
Yeah.
And it's not about me. It's not about this face because this face is dog ugly, believe me. And it's not about you, Paul, because your head's shiny. And it's not about you, Mark, because you wear a robe. And it's not about you, Chris, because you laugh funny. And it's not about Tom, and it's not. Well, it is. Look, it is about us. It is. But you know what? It's about everybody that contributes to the Tilton Talk page and the Tilton Talk show week in, week out, month in, month out, through our joys and through our sorrows.
Nick, it's a team. It's a team effort, Nick.
Ain't it just?
It's run. It's run by the fans. It's run by the fans.
Boys in Labour Club, SAS Autos, Boyle Sports. You can just keep reeling them off, can't you?
Yeah.
And you know what? We couldn't do it, Chris, without everybody else that's involved.
No.
Right, Adam Wilkes, the contributions he puts in, Dennis.
Yeah.
You know what? Wow, I tell you what, it's just the best thing for me. That personally, the best thing that's ever happened to me. To be able to be in a position where I can talk to people.
Yeah.
And
it's such a good cross section of our fan base. It really, I mean, a lot of the people you obviously haven't met, but it's just such a brilliant bunch of people. It's just brilliant, and it just makes it.
Mark. The most touching thing is about doing this is when I'm on my way down, someone comes up, "Oh, you're Nick off Tilton Talk, aren't you?" Yes, I am. But you know what? It's about you, not me. That's it.
Can I just say that during our charity night, don't forget Adam Wilkes is going to be cycling. I think he says 3,000 miles. I think he says
3,000.
Yeah, I think he says 3. Oh, it's definitely 3,000 during the show. Yeah.
I can double take over that.
I can hear that.
It's not me. It's somebody else. I think.
Right. So hang on. Right. Yeah. Adam Wilkes is going to cycle 3.
No, I think it's 4,000 now because I've just made it.
You're
4,
upping it every 5 seconds.
Yeah. I think it was 5,000 actually.
Is that just during one show?
Just during the show. Yeah.
So if I could bring Tom back in a sec, Tom.
Say again.
Go on,
Tom. Who's your favourite ever blues player?
Oh, that's a great question.
He's got to say TF.
The best we've ever had is TF by a country mile.
Yeah.
By a country mile. My favourite player, depends what you mean by favourite. The best is TF.
Yeah.
Yeah, TF.
Gotta be.
When you talk about blues, TF stands out.
Yeah.
Absolutely sensational. And I was proud.
Who was your favourite in the 90s then and the 2000s? Let's do decades.
I think 90s, 80s. I loved watching Broads play.
Absolutely brilliant. Yeah.
He
I met him on New Street Station.
I loved watching him play. 60s, I loved watching. 70s, TF, all of them. But 60s, Barry Bridges and Dick Neal was special. Jimmy Bloomfield, we had a really talented player, comes from Arsenal. Then in the 90s, 2000s, I did enjoy, I must admit, I loved it when Sav was in the team, when Robbie Savage was in the team. We'd sparkle when he was in the. And you know what we were then? A team. I know that sounds pretty obvious, but we were a proper team.
Yeah, it was workman-like team, wasn't it?
So it was together in everything.
Yeah.
Like the Horsfield, Devil Inside. That was together. I was fortunate when Joey Hutchinson fell on holiday and was in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. We had a big testimonial game for him at St Andrews, and I managed that team. That was a good final team.
I remember that, yeah.
And let me tell you, I was in the dressing room, and I often wonder, how did our team run that wonderful Liverpool team? Not only close, but were probably better and deserved to win. How did we do that? When I was in the dressing room and I saw that big team spirit, I knew that camaraderie, that banter between them all, that wonderful team spirit, that if you kick one of us, we all limp. You know what I mean? The shirt all together.
Yeah.
And I love that team for that. I love that team.
Yeah. And what about the 90s, Tom? Who was your favourite in the 90s?
I'm trying to think.
We had some great players, didn't we? I mean, we had Granger, Hughes, Brian Hughes,
Devs,
Hughes was a great
Devlin.
Devlin.
Yeah. Paul Devlin
Brian
was a
Hughes was
great
in
player.
that team, though, wasn't he? Brian, the 90s. The 90s was the Worthington Cup, wasn't it?
Yeah, 90.
No,
Well,
2001.
2001 now, yeah.
2001,
Some of
yeah.
the players overlapped, didn't they?
Yeah, they
I
did.
mean,
Yeah,
the team from 91 and 92, with Terry Cooper, for example, or Lou Macari, was a lot different to the team from 99.
yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Daesh, Liam Daesh as well was great, wasn't he?
Dicey was a proper competitor. He would lead them. He was a leader of men, Dicey.
Yeah,
But in the early days, we had, like, Simon Sturridge was a very good footballer.
yeah.
Simon Sturridge was a good. Vince Overson was a tough centre half. We had decent players and teams. We had good teams, and I think every time we've been successful, we've had a good team.
That's some
It's
good
difficult.
Good
It's
team.
difficult to pick one in the 90s, isn't it? I mean, Louis Donoghue as well was great for us.
You got
Louis.
Johnny Frayne in the game as well.
Funny.
Loved him.
John Frayne was a good player, by the way.
John Frayne was a brilliant player.
Played a lot of games for Blues, John Frayne.
Jonathan Hunt. What about Jonathan Hunt?
Oh yeah,
Jonathan Hunt,
yeah.
Steve Claridge.
He became good. We got off to a bad start, me and Jonathan Hunt.
Did you?
He signed, and I don't. He come from. Where did he come from? League One team or something?
Peterborough, wasn't it?
Something.
Peterborough.
Yeah,
Anyway.
it was, yeah.
So remember we were close to the club BRMB. We were the team that you know, place where the Blues fans listen. And he signed, and I said, look, can you spare a couple of minutes for BRMB? And he went, you'll have to be quick. And I said, well, how quick is this? Don't bother. And he went, what? And that was it. He then did it, and we became really good friends after that. And funny enough, when we went, do you remember the time we went to Millwall, and I was on the team bus, and I sat next to Jonathan Hunt, and he was petrified. They were coming out the pubs, throwing things at the coach. Oh,
Yeah.
I think Darren Brady had wound them up a bit. So they were coming out the pub. But he was a really talented footballer, Jonathan Hunt.
He was.
Mark Ward, by the way.
Mark Ward.
Loved him.
How good was he for us? Jonathan Hunt was a craftsman in midfield. We've had great players. It's hard to say he was the best because they all had different attributes. We had some that weren't so good. Folio Kenler was one.
Yeah.
Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah.
We've had our fair share. Ricky, I spoke to Ricky Otto recently.
We need him in.
Oh yeah.
He's a pastor.
He's a pastor now, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Hey, Courtney, there's one for you.
Yeah. Go for it.
he's doing a really good job, Ricky, with the young people of Lozells.
Oh, fantastic.
Because he's learned the error of his ways. But he was funny. I remember being in the dressing room interviewing him after he'd been at the club 2 years. And I said, you know, you've taken a long time to settle in. It was 2 years. And he went, Rome wasn't built in a day. He'd been at the club 2 years, 2 years of a 3-year contract, and he hadn't settled in. His goal at Liverpool will stand out for me.
What a goal.
On a sub, came on a sub. What a goal that was.
Yeah.
Do you remember his goal? Do you remember his debut as well, Tom?
One at each end.
Blackpool,
Cambridge.
Yeah, that sounds like Ricky.
So we've had great characters, great players.
We have.
Wherever you go, we've had great players, great characters. You know,
Great supporters,
Fantastic
great commentators,
listen,
and great people that surround our club. They're so generous, they're so giving, they're so loving. And you know what? Sometimes football fans get a really bad name, but you know what? The guys that I deal with through here, wow, I couldn't ask for any more.
Let me just say, it's easy to support Man U. It's hard work being a Blues fan, but they need success. They deserve it.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? It always gets a bit emotional when you do your last day. And this is it for the 2019-2020 series. And, of course, we'll be back just in 3 weeks' time. No big long through the summer. Chris, could you drop that a little bit? Could you drop that a little bit? Yeah, cheers. And it's difficult being a Birmingham City supporter, but it's beautiful. And I love it. And I wouldn't have it any other way. Not ever, never, ever. Right? And the banter, like Tom said earlier, is absolutely superb. Oh my God! Look, let me just quickly look back at this season. What a guest list we've had, one after the other, and it's just been an amazing journey through COVID. And I know that that's taken people who I know have got friends and family that have succumbed to this awful disease. And my personal thing that I want to do is when we all get back to going to the football again at 3 o'clock on that very first game. I think the country, every football ground in this country should exactly at 3 o'clock sing Abide With Me in memory of all those beautiful people that we've lost.
Yeah.
Thank you, Boyle Sports.
Yeah.
Thank you, SAS Autos. Thank you to our friends at Bawdsey Labour Club. Chris Brown, thank you so much for hosting this all through this.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Mr. Robe, thank you for wearing that robe.
I'm sweating now.
Paul Hipkiss, for all your crazy memory moments that have gone on this season. Wow.
How does he do it? How
You know
does he
what?
do it?
It just bugs us all because none of us can do it.
Drives me.
It's like you've got this encyclopedia, and you're eating an encyclopedia as the show's going on. Thanks ever so much.
Been a pleasure.
Oh, mate, I can't wait to see you again soon. Bless
Couple
you.
of weeks.
And ladies and gentlemen, wow, what a way to finish this series. I've got goosebumps again. There they are. Tom Ross.
Amen, guys. Keep right on. Thank
How are
you.
ya? How are ya?
Cheers, Tom.
We have to apologise for Tom for only having his photograph on there. He wasn't imitating a statue all night. He's only got a Nokia
He
13.
keeps disappearing. I'm sure it's come on sometime during the
I
night.
reckon he's been doing this all the way through the show.
Oh, you've caught me.
Thanks for your generosity for the book for that for Caroline. I'll
Send
send
me
you a
the
message
details.
on Twitter a bit later.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for that. I mean, that flag. Oh my God. Oh, I've got to have it. I've got to have it. I've got to have it. Right. Thank you, Tom.
No worries.
You know what? This is what a family's all about, isn't it? Coming together, helping each other out, through the good, through the bad.
Absolutely, Tom.
It is a long, long road. But you know what? The joys, I believe, are going to come back.
Hopefully.
We've had enough sorrows, 10 years of them. That's a sixth of my lifetime and a quarter of Tom's.
Thank you. Amen to
Fingers
that.
crossed.
Good night, everybody.
But I'm going to leave Tom to
See you,
sign
Pete.
off. I'm going to leave Tom to sign off the whole 2019-2020 series with his final message. Tom, it's all over to you. Thank you so very much, my friend. Bless you.
Cheers, pal. Be loud, be proud, keep right on.
Come on. Yes!
Good night.
Cheers, guys.
Good night all.